I'm going to just try, to tackle a big topic today. I bet it won't be the only time we talk about this because it is a big one. Dating. How in the heck do you date when you've been through the ringer with a narcissist? Well, let me give you some tips and also just tell you about the common experiences that people have when they try to date after narcissistic abuse. You're not alone. I promise you. Welcome to Waking Up from Narc Abuse, a micro podcast by Alana Sanborn. This is a micro podcast. It's meant to start your thoughts flowing. It's meant to be the beginning of a conversation, a dialogue, not a monologue. Because we're talking about something that's pretty heavy, my hope is that shorter episodes that are easier to digest will help you without overwhelming you. And here is today's show. So, a huge chunk of my clients are concerned about dating. Sometimes we spend most of their sessions talking about how to know who to trust, what red flags to look out for, and whether they're being too picky or not. Spoiler alert, they're not. It's such a fraught topic because once you've been burned by a narcissist, you probably need to restore not only your faith in humanity again, but also your faith in yourself. Self-trust, self-love, they get really crushed during this process. You are dehumanized, and also you don't trust yourself because of choices you've made. This all leads to the big question. How in the hell can I choose a partner when I've chosen so badly in the past? And this goes for so many other things too. It's hard to choose friends. It's hard to know how to get close to people, or if you should get close to people. It's hard to know how fast a relationship should move, if you're being love bombed or not. Another thing is, if you grew up with at least one narcissistic parent, you probably have always had a hard time trusting your own instincts, and likely of a deficit where your sense of self should be. Growing up with someone who treats you like an extension of themselves tends to damage your ability to develop your own identity. Simple as that. And when you don't know yourself, you don't know what you want. You don't know what you don't want. You don't know what you like or dislike. It kind of feels like an uncertain mess inside. Like you're supposed to know a lot of things, but you totally feel clueless. And that leads to a lot of insecurity, which, of course, makes dating pretty tough. So, dating. Here are some of the common questions that my clients ask me when they try to date after narcissistic abuse. What red flags should I look for? This is a big one. And I think there are plenty of things you can look for to see if someone's sketchy. But I want my clients to go a bit deeper than that, and also more broadly than that. I recommend they look for signs of self-awareness and awareness of others. How? Well, a couple of easy ways are watch how they treat others around you. Do they notice when someone needs to move by them in a crowded room? Are they kind to wait staff at a restaurant? There's always the chance that someone's turning on the charm, and you can't do anything about that. But if they're obviously dismissive or rude to people, that will tell you a lot about them right away. Accountability. This is a big one. If someone's able to admit they've made mistakes, or even if something happens on your date and they're able to correct it or acknowledge their misstep, that is a good sign. If they can't, or they go overboard in either direction of either admitting a mistake or denying a mistake, those could be bad signs. Here's another one. When they talk about their past, do they mention being the victim in many situations? Do they have a quote-unquote crazy ex? Or are they estranged from their entire family? Do they have long-running relationships around them? Knowing more about their relationship skills comes from getting to know them, yes, but also hearing about their life and how they've handled conflicts with people. And of course, once you meet people in their life, that can tell you some things about them as well. Here's another one I really like my people to look out for. How do they feel about healing work? Have they ever met with a counselor or a coach? Do they believe in, quote unquote, doing the work? Their attitude about getting help is vital. If they have had a lot of strife in their life, that's totally acceptable. A lot of us have. We aren't here to judge. However, if they have had many issues in their past and or violence, etc., and they don't believe in getting help for things, well, that's maybe a bit different. You are someone who believes in getting support. You should be with someone and around people who also believe that that is equally as important as you do. It's going to be, at the very least, a compatibility issue, likely, especially because the people that I tend to work with are very committed to their personal growth. They're people who are lifelong learners. And when they're matched up with someone who is not like that, it's tricky. They maybe outgrow that person, or they find it hard to relate to each other. So that is something I would want my people to look out for. Another big question people ask me, how do I know if I'm being too picky? First of all, you're not being too picky. I will just tell you right now. But I know you want more of an answer than that. So if you have a dating history or a friendship history of inviting people into your life who are toxic, then we can assume you are essentially not picky enough. You are so welcoming and so good at seeing people's potential that you often end up in relationships that are just not healthy for you. So it's possible that while you're recovering from narcissistic abuse, you will overcorrect and push others away, not let people get very close to you. Think of a pendulum. It swings far into either direction, and as it slows, it settles into the middle. Eventually, I believe, you will also settle toward the middle, which, in my opinion, is a pretty healthy range. So if before your narcissistic relationship that we were talking about, you perhaps were too trusting and too accepting, not picky enough, we'll say, and now after the abuse, you are really holding people at arm's length, not letting anyone in, pretty scared to trust anybody, definitely suspicious of people, there's a chance that that will subside over time. And as you have more healing relationships, as you feel better about your ability to trust your own decisions, you can settle more toward the middle and have some kind of healthy way of seeing people and discerning whether they're safe or not. So, I doubt you're being too picky. It's okay if while you're trying to date for the first time in a while, or after a really bad experience with a narcissist, you tend to be a bit picky. I doubt you're going to regret any of the decisions you're making right now. I doubt there's going to be like the one that got away. Probably there's going to be some duds in there that weren't right for you anyway, and you were pretty judicious with your decision making, and you sent them on their way sooner than you may have done years past. That's great. It's all good practice. Think of it as learning how to be with people again. You kind of have to start from scratch after this kind of experience and relearn how to trust people, how to think positively about people, how to be vulnerable with people. And it's okay if you don't do that with very many people at all. If it takes a lot for someone to get through your walls now, that's okay. Give it time. And maybe it's all right for you to have fewer people in general in your life. Maybe you don't need to have, oodles of folks in your realm. Maybe it's okay if there's just a few and they're really high quality. And it's okay if it takes you time to find those people. One of the things that happens a lot in my sessions with people who are dating is that they present a specific situation to me and ask for my advice. And depending on the situation or the person, I might give advice, very specific advice. And always when I do that, the reason I do it is so that people can check my position, my opinion with their own. Always, I'm having people refer back to their own experience, their own beliefs, their own thoughts and opinions. If I say something very strong, very opinionated, I'm always going to ask the person, and how are you feeling about what I've said? What does that feel like for you? Does it resonate? How are you feeling in your body? So I'm having my people always check back in with themselves. So that is really the key to all of this. There are definitely things I recommend for people on dates, and in their dating experiences. But the biggest thing I'm always going to recommend to people is that they get opinions from other people, sure, and then they check back in with themselves. If I say, oh, the person that you're describing sounds great, they sound fine, what's the problem? You should go for it. But you, while on the date or while thinking about the person you went on the date with, feel anxious inside or feel like something's off or don't know how to put your finger on it, but you don't feel comfortable, that is all that matters. That's all that matters. Your inner experience is not going to lead you astray. If you're checking in with me or you're checking in with friends, always weigh it against your actual own inner experience. That's really literally the only thing that matters. If you don't trust that, that's okay. That's the work you're doing right now with relearning how to trust yourself. But know, just hear me, know that your inner experience is always right. You're just learning to listen to it much better than you used to. So you can't go wrong with dating unless you don't listen to yourself. I know it's tricky because you don't trust yourself, but you're also supposed to listen to yourself. It's tricky, but that's why you have people like me to check in with and to help you remind yourself what you already know, what you already feel, how wise you are, what you've done in the past, what you'll do in the future, how to best support your future self. I'm here for that. I'm always going to lead you back to yourself. Always going to lead you back to your own experience. Your own experience is gold. I trust it. I'm going to help you trust it again. Okay. We barely touched on this topic. We did a little bit. I think that's good enough for now. It's a big one, but aren't they all? So have fun on your dates. Hopefully they're at least funny stories, if not really lovely experiences. And good luck out there. And take care of yourself.